Radiant set out to be more than just another blockchain. Built on a UTXO architecture and designed to handle transaction sizes up to 8 megabytes, it promised scalability, decentralization, and efficiency without sacrificing proof-of-work security. For a time, that promise worked. Small GPU miners and larger industrial players mined side by side, and Radiant became a rare place where fairness still felt real. But today, Radiant faces an unexpected challenge. Not from hackers, markets, or regulations, but from the very hardware meant to protect it. And this is where the Dragon Ball A11 enters the story. Radiant was created to solve a long-standing blockchain problem: how to increase transaction capacity without weakening security. By supporting massive blocks, it opened the door to batch settlements, large transfers, and entirely new on-chain applications. Early on, GPU miners using everyday hardware were able to participate, helping keep hash power distributed and the network grounded in grassroots mining. Then, ASIC miners arrived. Machines like the Dragon Ball A11 and Ice River RX0 brought enormous hash power and energy efficiency, pushing Radiant into the petahash range and making the chain far harder to attack. Block production stabilized, security improved, but decentralization quickly began to shrink. And then something strange happened. Large transactions started getting stuck, exchange withdrawals failed to confirm, investigations revealed that while Radiant's protocol fully supports large blocks, a software bug prevented transactions above 2 megabytes from being transmitted normally. Developers worked around this by injecting oversized transactions directly into mining pool mempools. The network kept moving, but the workaround exposed something deeper. Pools dominated by Dragon Ball A11 miners suddenly couldn't mine blocks containing large transactions at all. Even when pushing extreme effort, no blocks were found until those transactions were removed. Pools running Ice River RX0 miners had no such problem. In effect, the A11 hardware had become an invisible block size governor, quietly capping Radiant's real-world scalability far below what the protocol was designed to handle. A single hardware design was now shaping the future of an entire chain. This created a dilemma. ASIC miners improve security and long-term stability, but dependence on a limited hardware model introduces a new point of failure, not in software, but in silicon. Radiant was now facing the truth that scalability is not only about code, it's also about what the hardware can actually process. So the community stepped in. Developers, miners, and hardware partners began openly exploring solutions. One proposal would require miners to prove that their machines can process large blocks by generating cryptographic capability fingerprints. Another would introduce a second mining algorithm to bring GPU and CPU miners back into the network, restoring diversity and resilience. There's also the possibility of firmware updates, if the A11 limitation turns out to be software rather than physical, and soft fork enforcement rules that could gently push the network forward without splitting it. Each solution has its trade-offs, but all share the same goal: to protect Radiant's original scaling promise. At the same time, RxD's market price has begun to show quiet signs of recovery. While still far below its historical highs, recent chart patterns and volume structures suggest that momentum may be slowly returning. And that makes the timing critical, because how Radiant resolves this challenge could determine not only its technical future, but its place in the next chapter of proof-of-work innovation. This moment is bigger than a firmware bug. It's a reminder that blockchains are living systems, and the hardware that secures them can also define their limits. Radiant now stands at a crossroads, between becoming constrained by legacy silicon or evolving into the scalable, open, and decentralized network it was always meant to be. And the next move will be written not just by code, but by the community that believes in what Radiant can still become.